Hello and welcome to DDOCast episode 538, recorded live on Saturday, November 10th. I'm host Patrick. With me this week, we have returning to the show. It's been a little while. Jerry, aka Cordovan.
Hello, how's it going? Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, it's great to have you back. See, our screenshot of the week, Tencent Mo patrols the Veil of Twilight in the 390th screenshot of the week.
We get a lot of shots with that backdrop, but it is very pretty.
I mean, it's hard to argue with it. It's a great shot, right? So,
yeah.
See, we like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons online nearly every weekend. You can watch us through Twitch, YouTube, the DDO forums, iTunes, or from our website, DDOCast.com. DDOCast is hosted by Cyber Ears, the awesome podcast hosting network. Shows are usually available within a few days of recording, and the next show will probably be next weekend. You can stay updated by following us on our social media pages or our website, DDOCast.com, with our calendar. On the podcast this week, we get to talk about a couple things. We know when we can talk about the preview for update 41 that's coming up, and I hear that you have some a little bit of a preview of the preview, as it were.
Yep, I've got something that we can talk about that is all but ready to be in the release notes and just isn't yet, but will be soon.
We've also got we'll talk a little about Extralife and Movember. Take a moment to talk about that stuff. We also have 2 weeks worth of game news because I critically failed my work save last week.
No problem.
So we'll have a little extra news to get through as well.
We've all been busy.
Yes. And you were just actually saying that you guys have been busy because you just launched the Lotro Legend server. What's that the right name for it?
Yep, Legendary server. This was on Lord of the Rings Online.
Right.
It's really level 1 to 50 for Lotro, which current level cap is 120.
Give people just a maybe like a 15-second or 30-second. Like, what is this Legendary server?
Well, Lotro.com Legendary would be what I would say. Take a look at it and get a really quick sense of what it's all about. But it's really a chance to kind of relive the early game of Lotro with a active, very large crowd in a way that is a pure, fresh server, right? So a lot of people are finding a lot of interest in doing that. Even more so than we expected. We thought it would be pretty successful, and it's been really nice to see how successful it's been. We had server queues, even up through Saturday morning, last I heard.
Which is great from a standpoint of, hey, this is actually really popular. It sucks if you're the guy in the server queue, but
it does. Although people have been getting in.
Yes,
and we actually had to open a second server, which we did on. God, what day was that now? Friday, I think. Thursday.
You opened a second one.
Yeah, we had to open a second server Friday. That's when that was. What day is today? God, I don't even know anymore.
Yes,
it has been a busy 78. It has been a very busy 78 hours. Yeah. But yeah, you can get a good sense of it at Lotro.com Legendary. It's really a chance to kind of start fresh with a current group of people and a large audience, and it's been really pretty sweet. And it's been all over Twitch too, if you want to take a look.
Nice, a lot of fun. It'd be interesting to. I'm trying to think of how that would translate. I'm not familiar with Lotro as much. I'm assuming they've had a lot of game changes, but the beginning of the game for DDO has changed so much.
Right. And ultimately, it is the current experience that you would see on the non-legendary server as well. But there are significant changes that you essentially naturally create by having a fresh server with a fresh start, kind of a chance to relive, to come home again. This is something that kind of we're reaching out to a lot of people who have played the game over the years and are inviting them back and things like that too. So it's like I said, it's been going real well. It's been a lot of fun.
It's great to hear.
So, I think the DDO equivalent would be what if, although you'd still be able to play Warlock and everything, but what if you went from like levels 1 to 10? And it was on a completely fresh server, no character copies, no character transfers to or from. So it's a kind of pure environment, as it were.
And probably going back to the only contents available, like up through Vaughn, right? Like take a lot of that.
Yeah, probably we'd have that would be a surprisingly challenging thing to come up with. But yes, exactly. I think it would be probably something like that. Yeah. Not that we're doing it.
Right.
But actually, we have maybe something else in the works for DDO. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right. Let's talk about DDO game news,
Mhm.
because there's a little bit to get through, particularly since, again, I failed my work save last weekend. Let's see. So, update 40 patch 2 came out while
Okay.
we were gone, and fixed a couple of things. Particularly the Wood Elf Arcane Archer toggles now work properly. Yay. That was I found that, experienced that myself. That was an unexpected thing. Assassinate now displays immunity particles if the character hits an immune target. Assassinate's death effect no longer requires landing a sneak attack to apply. A normal hit will do as long as you are stealth to use the skill. That's a nice cleanup, just from a gameplay perspective.
It was a big deal for some of our assassin players, but overall, it was just a way to get the systems in a much better place, I think, frankly.
Yeah, it thematically it makes sense that you want it to be a sneak attack, but just from as fast as the game moves, that could be a really tricky thing to do. It's still not an easy thing necessarily to get that sneak attack in either. So,
and to be honest, we're in I'll admit we are in a little bit of a tricky position there, where we have some people who really want to be able to assassinate, say, in Reaper 10 and things like that. But we also are in a position where the falconry attack, in some ways, was systematically better than assassinate in terms of a one proc assassin effect, right? So we kind of needed to do something about that to really put assassins in a better place right now, even if it is maybe a little controversial in some sectors. I think it's going to be a much improved gameplay experience, which is ultimately what we want to do here.
Might be a little overpowered just because the next one, Assassinate, can now be used on oozes, elementals, constructs, and undead creatures. Yeah. So, and to my understanding, the full kind of chain of events there was Death from Above, which is the one from the falconry tree, was supposed to use the same restrictions as Assassinate, and when it went live, it didn't. And that was not intended. So they changed it to what it was intended, and then people didn't like it.
Exactly right.
So then there was a conversation that happened and said, well, it's a tier 5 thing. Maybe we're okay with that. And then we're going to apply
which
that
is
to
something that happens in real time, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't predict this stuff. But
that was expanded to include Assassinate as well. Not Quivering Palm, just Assassinate. I'm not bitter about that at all.
I would probably say I will prefer to wait to see more practical feedback from people who are heavy assassin users before figuring out what, if anything, we need to do there.
But so that's where we are. It's going really well. I think it definitely has changed a few things and made.
I see it as you slicing the ooze like Julienne style, and then there's not much left of it. So
it's from a rater's perspective, it's certainly opened up a few other options, perhaps unintentionally so. But hey, getting through the totems and Boba's Head a little faster is never a bad thing. Falconry. Falconry no longer needs Killer Instinct 1 as a prereq to take Killer Instinct 2. So that means you can just take the Wisdom to damage without taking the Wisdom to hit.
Yep.
That
doesn't suck.
Yeah. And that makes, because there's other ways you can get Wisdom to hit, too. It's not prevalent, but there are ways to do it. See, the long pause has been removed in the attack chain when using a Falconry attack. That is not the cooldown. That is the actual pause of the attack, where it would, in melee, it took you off of auto attack, I think. In range, had a really super long reload. Afterwards.
Some of that was for animation syncing issues, and some of it was to align it, I think, with the sort of flow of combat. But ultimately, having that pause just be removed is a better situation than kind of what it was.
Let's see. Fix an issue where Death from Above would hit the player if the player had no target.
Oops, and remember we were just saying about Death from Above? Nobody was doing that. Yeah. There you go.
Those ones are always fun to read, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Falconry's level 20 capstone now properly applies freedom of movement. Animation issues got corrected. and Death from Above, and Shadow Dancer's Executioner Strike and Shot. Same, it can now be used on oozes, elementals, constructs, and undead creatures. Interesting.
Yep.
Plants is not on that list. I'm assuming it can, but I'm not sure.
Perhaps something we can do in the future.
Or it may be in
we
there.
took care of some hireling T-posing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fixed an issue where hand wrap users who received extra dice through any means were lower than intended.
About a half W.
Yeah. Sigils are now fully gone from Sentinels with Stormreach and rewards.
They will live on in my inventory forever.
Right. Let's see. The Ghostly benefit now mentions range and melee in its tooltip. Time runes from the Killing Time Ray can no longer erroneously be passed to others in the chest before being looted. Let's see. This is over, but Night Revels.
Some Night Revels stuff.
Some Night Revel stuff. The Snitch and Lich Sneblin no longer give the message mentioning rewards. That was the Lich, and it was giving a message that it was too low of level to rewards.
I think the main thing is we up the XP for Resurrection Chamber Gravework, Eternity Unleashed, Snitch and Lich, and getting ahead in Lord's March.
It wasn't a huge amount, but it was not insignificant either.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a big jump, but it overall, I don't know about you, but I definitely enjoyed the XP that I was getting from the Night Revels past almost a month now.
Don't get me wrong, it was like 30 to 50,000 more if you 6 started. So,
God, that first batch of XP you get for a fresh Night Revels event is just it's good stuff.
Let's see, some so Halfling female sword and shield attacks got their proper animations back. Dragonborn female cloaks behave normally now. Half-orcs no longer pop to the left when using the laugh emote.
A lot of animation issues. It's almost like we both debuted Falconry, which is an animation-heavy sort of attack option, along with cloaks. Are poor animators.
Yep. But that was just kind of funny. Like half orcs no longer pop to the left when using the laugh. That's just so random.
Yeah, that was a strange one. That's for sure. Yeah.
So there you go. So that was the patch notes for patch 2 for update 40. Bard R's. There was a comment about Bard R's, I think, from Linnabelle. She said, interestingly enough, there's a fundamental technical difference between old and new R's. The Bardic area is noticeably more server performance friendly than the old War Chanter R's for a variety of reasons, not all of which are easily noticeable from a player's perspective. That's how early it is. Right there. Just subtract 3 chimes, and that's how early it is for me.
I actually just muted myself for the clock. I'll do my best on that. Sorry.
That's okay. Let's see. One of the ways you can tell them apart is the old War Chanter R's continue to count players while in public spaces, whereas the new R's do not. They will only ever count yourself in public spaces. Part of the impetus for doing Bard Song revamp was cleaning up old and relatively client-straining mechanics from behind the scenes. So, yep. Update 41 on Lamania. So, it's time to begin previewing the next update. They currently expect preview of Update 41 to be available this Tuesday through Thursday, just normal time frame. As always, the timeline is fluid and may end up changing. However, this is the current plan. And it sounds like you guys are still on track for that.
Yep.
That's good.
All indications are.
So we got a short list. It's not release notes, but it was the expected features. A new free-to-play dungeon. So it sounds like we're going to get 1 dungeon this time, at least so far.
And it's just free. Similar to what we did with, say, Study and Sable, we've done... we've done actually a fair number of That's true, they did have 2. But this one's fairly extensive.
The Wizard Tower one had 1.
Yeah, Tower of Frost came out in our December kind of schedule. The reality is, the holidays are a tough time to get a lot of this stuff done. And we're hard at work on Sharn. So we have to be. It's just good. Well, frankly, it's going to be a real big systems heavy update, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of become the norm a little bit. Is that there's less content at the end of the year and more kind of tweaks and changes and stuff.
Some of that's a victim of circumstance because we were working on, say, Ravenloft, and now we're working on Sharn. But
and you guys were working on Sharn back when I visited in August too. So it's
It's almost like we have an expansion to come to
yeah, right.
put out. Yeah.
But let's have so new free to play
Yeah.
dungeon.
Mhm.
And the end game raid loot revamp, which we've talked about a little bit. So that's
Cool.
coming, which almost feels a little bit like part one of that, just because the legendary souls are going to have more things coming to them. But they'll get a lot of the mechanics and stuff in there, which would be great. The Bard Songs revamp, a sort of smaller changes and bug fixes, and hey, some new things. The Arcane DPS Spells Pass, which
Indeed
is
what we will be looking at shortly.
Wizard and Sorcerer nuking spells, quote, nuking spells. And then the Eldritch Knight revamp as well. So those are a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about those now?
Yes, I could do that. I also want to mention that there's a few things that probably aren't going to make it into Update 41 as well. One of which is some work being done on Pale Master, which I know is going to be very exciting to some folks, hopefully in a positive way. And we also do have some kind of other systems related things that you have not seen yet. So this will come out most likely Tuesday in the Lamania release notes. But I'm pulling this specifically from the Players Council forums, and I'm going to not be careful not to have any feedback on it. And some of these numbers as well are not accurate, or will not. It's not so much that they're not accurate; it's just that they are in flux and they will change over time here. So we have got some new level 1 wizard and sorcerer spells meant to give wizards and sorcerers a level 1 single target range spell, low cost, easy to work into an attack chain. That is called Firebolt, Freezing Bolt, Acid Bolt, Electric Bolt. Each of these fires a single target projectile, 1d6 plus 2 damage per caster level to a max of 10, 2 spell point cost at their base, and have a 4.5 second cooldown. They do not have a saving throw. New level 9 wizard and sorcerer spells. These are meant to expand the options in level 9 for nuking casters, especially elemental focused ones outside of fire, which already has Meteor Swarm. Iceberg, originally from a 3.5 side book. It drops a big chunk of ice on your target. Single target evocation, 1d6 plus 27 per caster level. Reflex save for half damage, max caster level 20, 40 spell point cost. The next one, Burst of Acid Breath, a stronger version of it doesn't really matter. AoE Cone Evocation spell, 1d6 plus 18 per caster level, fort save for half, max caster 20, 40 spell points. Storm Strike, a little bit like Call Lightning. It drops a powerful lightning bolt from the sky onto a single target evocation spell. 1d6 plus 27 per caster level, reflex save half, max caster level 20, and 40 spell points. We are updating some spells, upgrading player versions of several damage spells. The max caster level will remain unchanged. Monsters will continue casting the existing versions of the spells, which is just really a matter. We could theoretically roll this out to more monsters in the future, but we're going to start conservatively on that. The spells improved generally follow all guidelines. They are damage spells. They do not confer extra effects. They do not have multiple projectiles that scale with caster level. They are not persistent AoE, and they are not dots. With this said, we are looking at Acid Spray, Burning Hand, Shocking Grasp at level 1, each doing 1d6 plus 1. Level 2, Scorch and Snowball, 1d6 plus 2. Level 3, Acid Blast, Fireball, Lightning Bolt, 1d6 plus 3. Do you see a trend happening? Level 4, Fire Trap, Negative Energy Burst, 1d6 plus 4. 5, Lightning or Ball, Lightning, and Cone of Cold, 1d6 plus 5. Level 6, 1d6 plus 6 for Chain Lightning and Autoluke's Freezing Sphere. 7, 1d6 plus 7 for Delayed Blast Fireball. Polar Ray at level 8, 1d6 plus 16 per caster level. We basically doubled it at level 8. And level 9, Meteor Swarm now deals 1d3 plus 1 fire damage per caster level, 1d2 plus 1 bludgeoning damage per caster level on each meteor, a max caster level 20. And its damage ends up roughly competitive with Burst of Acid Breath, just distributed across 2 effects on each of 4 years. And that sounds pretty good. Anything else that we need to mention? I think that's really what we got going on.
Well, there's
Kind of
I
a
see
big-
that at the bottom there. There's the question: why weren't lesser the R death R's on the list?
Because they didn't meet the guidelines, or because they're changing it would have been a net reduction in damage. We are not setting out to up push all damaging spells game wide. We're looking to upgrade wizard and sork nuclear spells specifically. And so we're really just kind of bringing things up and having to work balance on some of the complex ones, Frank.
Sure.
But I think this is going to be a plus, and it's also going to be more consistent. So you'll be able to base your damage on that far more, I think, consistently, knowing 1d6 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 16.
Yeah, it's always nice when it goes a little bit more linearly and
per caster level, and it's also going to bring up a whole too. And then, like I say, we've got the low cost dots that are not just chain missiles or whatever. Firebolt, freezing bolt, acid bolt.
Are they dots or just fire or just bolts?
They are bolts.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Single target projectile.
Which, if you're wondering, is single target so that you can't get a ton of extra effects from all the other things that grant effects.
Yeah, but I found my wizard, which I'll be probably playing today, the Movember stream here, which I will be talking about, but actually uses a lot of like force missile as an SLA because you just jack it up with all sorts of spell power and things, and it's perfectly fine. And it has a low spell point cost, so being able to expand that out to the different elements, I think, will be a good one.
Yeah, that's always kind of the challenge, right? Because my sorcerer I find is one of my best. I'm just gonna go farm stuff like for night revels and or I'm looking for some loot in random quests. Just as he can self heal. He's not great in Reaper, but for just doing some loot runs, he can do a lot of damage. He can do a lot of that stuff. So it's definitely gets a little easier there to. If you got more options that aren't gonna blow through your spell points, because that's my sorcerer's problem, right? Is just run out of spell points really super fast. So.
Yep. I think it'll be a good thing.
Yes, more damage is always a good thing.
And of course, if you hate it, let us know.
Right. So
the devs love being told that everyone hates their thing.
Anything you can tell us about the Eldritch Knight revamp? Or you want to wait for Tuesday?
I can. I'm not going to bring it up just because I don't know what the state of the numbers are, and it might be so different off that it's just not. I don't want to cause any problems, but I can kind of verbally talk a little bit through this. So, the tree aims to allow you to create a character that can both cast spells and swing a melee weapon competently. They can lean on their spell book and other trees for spells. Most of the focus is on keeping their damage and DCs relevant. For weapons, the hope is they can be competent in their own right and work well with multi-classing without making multi-classing inframartial classes too OP. And yes, that could be a thing if we're not careful. So
never happened before.
Yep. The hope is a character focusing on this tree can swing a weapon and cast spells and be fairly competent at it. So basically the cores are going to be Eldritch Strike, melee cleave attack, one weapon, or something like that. If this attack hits, your weapon also releases a blast of magical energy, dealing 0 to 2 force damage per character level to all nearby foes. Each core ability in Eldritch Knight will get you 7 max hit points. Core 2 is Spell Sword. Core 3, Imbue the Blade. Core 4, Subtle Force. Core 5, Subtle Force 2. And Core 6, Eldritch Blade. Your Eldritch Strike now grants you a power charge. When you have 5 power charges, they're removed. You gain Eldritch Power. Eldritch Powers plus 10% melee damage, plus 3d4 force damage on hit, plus 25 universal spell power, 15 PRR, 40 MRR for 30 seconds. You also get plus 2 int and con and some universal spell. And there's kind of a whole bunch of changes. I'm like I said, I'm going to go through the whole tree, but I'm hesitant to really get too deep into it, not just because it would be a very lengthy discussion, but also because I'm not sure how solid the numbers are
Well, maybe just
based on.
instead of going through the list, maybe just talk about like, can you give us like the goals, the intents, kind of what?
I would rather that Steel Star or Linabel address that
Yeah, okay.
question. Because I've
I didn't
been
know if they had
talking
it.
to
They had
them
it
about
written
it.
out or something.
Not really.
Yeah.
Internally, I can tell you a little bit. It's really just a matter of, like I say, getting Eldritch Knight to be not that it's an inviolable option. I mean, frankly, there are people doing it right now just fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to improve Eldritch Knight in a way that uh, brings out a good melee focus for that caster, while still being able to cast competently
Sure.
and not make it so that every fighter is now a wizard. So, you know,
Sure.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm being a little exaggerated there, but at the same time, we need to make sure that it fits well into a place. So that's really what they're doing, is adding a lot of kind of melee weapons become spell casting implements. It reduces a lot of arcane spell failure. You get a lot of universal spell power. For the spell sword, you get 4 of the following toggles, 5 spell points to activate. It's like a double strike, spell power, proficiency in light armor, martial weapons. Corrosive will charge your equipped weapon with acid. Flaming is fire, frost, shock.
So kind of like
It
the
does an
arcane archer
additional,
imbues.
yeah, deal an additional 1d6 element damage on hit. Increases to 2d4 at level 6, 3d4 at wizard level 12, 4d4 at wizard level 18. The damage scales with spell power. While active, your Eldritch Strike deals 1 to 2 additional acid damage per character level, which scales with the acid spell power. So that's really the way the spell sword's going to work at the cores
Nice.
throughout.
All right. Well, let's move on. There's a couple other things with 41 that we got a little bit of understanding of. So falconry is currently slated as a favor reward in update 41.
Yes.
Uh,
Unfortunately, I don't have that favor list in front. But yeah, we're going to be awarding falconry for favor.
and you don't know which one it is, which favor it is.
Give me a second.
Okay.
I don't off the top of my head, but that doesn't mean I can't get it.
See, with legendary souls, there was a question with it. So there will be a big post with concrete numbers relatively soon, probably when Lemania opens for a preview. Just like Raid Rune Souls, although the real name is actually to be announced, are not tradable in chests. It's a relative scale of acquisition difficulty, and reacquisition of raid loot is on the very bottom of that scale, with spicier and more exclusive rewards topping out at the top. Souls drop based on, or they scale the drops based on difficulty, raid length, and tier. So Deathworm will drop more than Double Dragon, and Legendary Shroud will drop way more than Legendary Hound of Zoriat, and so on. All of this information will be previewable on Lemania, so you can see the pricing structure yourself too. So that's nothing really surprising there.
Yep. Okay, so for in general on the favor, we're filling in across the board a lot of the empty slots that have not yet had favor associated with them. And I actually have a chart in front of me. I would say in general, it's tier 1, 2, 3, and in some cases tier 1, 2, 3, 4. We're preserving the numbers essentially as they are. In the empty spots for tier 1, you can largely expect a boost to some skill. For tier 2, you can largely expect a boost to your hit points, a small boost to your hit points. For tier 3, you'll get essentially some kind of defensive buff, like Gatekeepers tier 3 will be Outsider saving throws. House J, Poison and Disease, and House D is Weapon Durability. So tier 4 is basically a specific saving throw, or in one case falconry. So we are planning to have falconry be available for top tier, essentially in free agent favor. And PDK will be what's just called evil saves. The 12 will be spell saves. So we'll kind of see where that all falls out. But yeah, that's on target for 40.
Am I still gonna get a pet that I don't need and a key that I don't need every life?
The
PBK.
existing, it's true. Well, get rid of it. Come on. But yes, it.
Just asking.
We're not.
Yeah.
We're not removing any existing or adjusting them. We're just filling in all these gaps, which is not insignificant. So.
No, it's not. There's certainly some that have been there. I'm interested in
And
the House
even
D
more
one you
important,
mentioned,
we
so.
forced somebody to learn the and to be able to make adjustments to it. So I assure you that everybody was jumping at that chance to
I'm
work for
sure.
the old 2006 era favor system.
Let's see. The other thing I want to mention, when Update 41 goes live, current 20th list progress will be wiped due to the transition to raid runes. Apologies for not communicating this sooner. There's still a lot of time before Update 41, but we should have done the look into this earlier. This only affects Deathworm, Fire of Thunder Peaks, Mark of Death, and Defiler of the Just. And I'm going to take a little bit of a stab at this, and this may be completely wrong, but my expectation there is you're not going to like just lose the counter list because you can get your raid count for any of the raids, even the ones that have raid runes anyways, but it won't get you to a 20th completion list anymore. That they're going to probably cut that connection point.
I don't know the answer to that. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's kind of a guess. But
yeah, I don't even know this. Honestly, that was a little bit news to me, but that's fine. I think it's just related to the standardization of the raid loot, if anything else.
Yeah, I mean it
fine. I mean, even if you're really that hard to get your 20 now, and if you don't care, which be fine, not caring, you'll get your stuff. So.
See, bonus
more
days
easily and actually better in the future.
Yeah,
so.
The raid runes is definitely a better system. It's a way better system than 20th completion list because it doesn't matter what character you run, and you're rewarded for doing it on harder difficulty. So, let's see. Bonus days. The Mimic Hunt is back through November 18th.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Killing the mix.
Looters beware. Store news. Improve your character. You get 20% off of select stat and skill tomes, tomes of learning, and the weekly coupon gets you a free Lesser Guild Renown elixir with the coupon code RENOWN. Much better than the water breathing one from the week before.
God, did we really do that? That's funny. Yeah.
Free water breathing potions.
Woohoo!
Let's see. Community news. A couple of chronicles to get through. The 300.
Can you use it to apply a bubble on someone else's head?
I don't know.
Because if so, then it's got a lot of value.
The 307th Chronicle highlighted the first episode of the bonus D&D night. A group of brave dwarves tackle the Waterdeep Dragon heist, sponsored by Fantasy Grounds. The comment for the week was, what's the best thing you got with the Night Revels ingredients this year? Probably the cloaks. Matching cloaks to go with the armor. Because none of the other cloaks I had even remotely matched that armor. Not even.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit.
The cloak is very nice looking, and having it in the 3 colors was really useful. I thought that was pretty. I agree. That was probably one of the most valuable things from this year's Night Revels.
I wasn't big on the green, but the cloaks were really nice.
I like the green. Actually, I think it worked out pretty well. But you're right. It may not be for everybody. So, but that's why it changes color every year.
Yeah.
There's an effort underway that I am in favor of. I am for next year's Night Revels. I just have no clue if it's going to happen or not. So,
Arkham Asylum is a guild on the Atlantis server that is active again after several years of inactivity. They are looking for new players. They speak English and Spanish and need active players who want to make the guild grow. Looks like they're at level 41 right now. The Fanslate news from 2 weeks ago. Mickey's Raids, week 95. Friday on Ice, episode 101 with Bachelor Gore. You can watch Brock and friends roleplay through their adventure. We got a shout out for DDOCast episode 537. The Damsels of DDO had an episode. Bard Life with Doug Glendower and Pfeiffer as they stormed Ravenloft. Axel had a video about Falconry versus War Priest. Alex and Lynn did some Night Revels. Free DO had episode 6 with Psycho Blonde, and Shoemaker continued to cobble in Elven Stalker, and Inside the Magic Circle with Tone Station had an episode. Let's see. This week, 308th Chronicle, we got a shout out for D&D Kasplat, and just read the plug now. So we'll have Chapter 2. The heroes are going to be continuing to investigate the kobold blockade of the village of Scrimbar by entering the kobold den. Can they break the blockade before the local tavern runs out of ale? It's a very important thing to do. And what insights will Mr. Buttons share? Mr. Buttons was clearly a highlight. So that'll be on D&D night on DDO stream on Sunday. That's tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. So we can check that out. Of course, the better question is, can Patrick not party wipe the entire party before?
Nice.
It was a near thing last time. 3 of the 5 players were making death saving throws. So, let's see. The comment: where is the best place to find mimics? Well, when the event came out, I would have said a bank vault. But
yeah, that's true. That was a thing back in the day.
Let's see. Best place to find mimics now. Firestone Inlet's a good place with a lot of chests if you're lower level. Do the mimic chests happen in raids? I feel like they're turned off in raids.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
I don't remember. I don't
I'm
think
thinking about it. I think yeah.
I don't think they spawn in raids. Otherwise, the Shroud or Tempest Spine will be pretty good. Raids in general could use more chests. These are some of the longer ones. Yeah, I'm trying to think of places a high chest ratio, and where you can find a lot of chests. So let's see, the guild for the week. You looking for a guild? Post on the guild recruitment forum. The fan site news: DDO players had episode 199, say versus the Ravenloft Plague. Axel reviewed Night Revels. Under pressure from Return to House of Grouse. Let's see, Fridays on Ice with Bachelor, episode 123 with DDO Wiki Talk and Technical 13. Mickey's Delirium Raids, week 96. DDO PL Folks on Argonessen. The Witch in the Woods, part 3. D&D night on DDO stream. That's been the last 3 weeks. You finished, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was the final part with our bit of our cliffhanger ending and all that sort of thing. They found the witch. They found the woods. They killed the woods.
What about the witch? Did they kill the witch? Oh, they saved the witch.
Well, you'll have to watch to see what happens.
Did they survive? That's the
most of them. One was a ghost, and one something bad happened.
Let's see. Free DO had episode 7. Behold the Retirement Home. That's intriguing. Streaming with Even. Farmed ingredients for Night Revels. DDO Sunday with Alex and Lynn. Which I think is that a new show?
Newish. I think they're one of our newer, but they've been doing it for a couple months now.
Okay. Bard Life with Doug Glendower. Also had an episode. There's a DDO stream today, raising money for Movember.
That's right. It's actually happening right now. Shoemaker is doing on DDO stream. We're raising money for Movember all day today. We're going to be going live until 2:00 in the morning. And I personally will be on from noon, which is about a little over a half hour from now, until 4 p.m. Eastern. I have not yet decided what I'm going to do. We're going to play it by ear. But at the very least, I was thinking I might even do some raiding on Thelanis. Because I got one of my characters just set for Strahd and everything last night. So
there you go.
We'll see. Yep.
Let's see. Blog Fleek, BioBreak had their Halloween wrap-ups. They ran more Night Revels. Let's see. DDOcast news. DDO Kasplat. We actually raided in DDO Kasplat this week as well. We got through Master Artificer and Lord of Blades. It was a lot of fun.
Cool.
Yeah. A bunch of people hadn't actually run them before as well, so that was a lot of fun to kind of go through that stuff as well. And again, D&D Kasplat is this Sunday, so that's the group that I'm DMing with the Damsels and Rent and Nobob and another player will be joining this week, hopefully. Expand the party just a little bit. I kind of balanced the kind of was balancing everything with the idea of having 7 players, and then one person didn't show up, and then one person dropped out, so it's down to 5 for the first. That's why a lot of them are getting creamed.
Exactly. I like when I was just wrapping up Witch in the Woods, I tended to make sure that I was real flexible as a DM, both in terms of like setting the character, setting the environment, setting the basic idea of the story, but making lots of room to move and be able to kind of adjust on the fly.
There is a little bit of an for it. Fantasy Grounds, which is sponsoring D&D Night on DDO Stream, so thank you to them. The program has been really great. It is a little I find that it is a little harder to play some of the stuff on the fly, just because it's really convenient to like pre-plot out where you put all the monsters and stuff. So when you activate the encounter, they all populate on the map and everything, which is fantastic.
It's true. The more pre-work you do as a DM, the better it's going to run. This is all true. But at the same time, you can also create a little on-the-fly thing too as well.
Yeah, you can.
So you can. Yeah.
So, but it's been a lot of fun.
I will be doing it at 5 p.m. today because I actually have some old high school buddies along with my twin brother.
Oh my gosh.
We are actually going to be getting on Fantasy Grounds to do a little bit of old school D&D.
Oh boy,
after the Movember thing here, and that will not be televised. So,
yeah. Oh, well, that's bummer. Anyways, well, I wanted to take a moment and have Jerry talk about Extralife and Movember.
Oh, sure.
Standing Stone Games is doing. I'm not sure if Extralife is still going, but that was kind of a big push last month, and then Movember is this month. Well, yeah. Why don't you just like talk about what are these programs? Why is Standing Stone Games involved, and how can players be involved, and what does all that look like?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So we are doing 2 fundraisers in the Dungeons and Dragons online community. One for Extralife and one for Movember. Movember is going through December 1st, and Extralife is going through November 15th. However, both of these things are exceptionally flexible. So, whatever. If it's December 3rd and you want to donate, fine. If it's November 27th and you want to donate, that's fine too. It'll be all good. But I also need to set a bit of a cutoff date so I can start actually getting people their stuff, which has been a lot of work, and I've been too busy to really get back to people. So I am unfortunately behind this year. I do apologize for that. But you are going to get your stuff both on the Lord of the Rings online and Dungeons and Dragons online side. If you wish to donate to one and get from the other, or both, or whatever, it's fine. It's all about helping charities. So Extralife donates to the Boston Children's Hospital. And you can find out more at extra-life.org/team/Standing Stone Games. And that's for Extralife. I am doing some kind of basic incentive giveaways that I've done in the past, picks from the community loot list, DDO points codes. We are going to be doing a drawing for a Ravenloft 1 of 5 collector's editions of Ravenloft that we'll be awarding after November 15th. Another reason I'm setting a cutoff date. And however, for Movember this year, we have got something new. We are going to be giving away pork barrels. This is something that used to come from an anniversary award way back in the day and hasn't really been seen for a couple of years now, right? Because it was in one of the reward boxes.
It's one of the things that can happen with Sharati and colors. So you can see them, but
okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, but this you can launch at your whim. And basically any $20, I'm going to get you a stack of 10 pork barrels. Where we'll be delivering them probably with update 41 because we have to get it in the catalog so I can make a coupon code against it. But it is something that we'll be doing here in the future. You can donate to anyone on Standing Stone Games. mobro.co/Jerry Snook for me, or moteam.co/standing-stone-. And on Extralife, they crushed it. They got like more than $20,000.
Did they really?
That was thanks to both the DDO and LOTRO communities. Like I said, we're doing both charities together this year, in part because players have asked for it, and 2, just because why. We'll see how it goes this year. If people feel strongly one way or another, let me know. I have also had some requests, since we do Movember and since we do Extra Life for Kids, that maybe we find something for the ladies out there as well. I don't know, quite what the timing of my ability to support that is, but we'll see what we can do in the future.
I think Breast Cancer Awareness Month would kind of
I'm sure there's
with what you're
it would
doing.
Unfortunately, but we'll see, and maybe there is someone else who can kind of step up to the plate, because managing 2 of these is, let's be honest, not an insignificant amount of work. So
yeah. But that's great. So you said Extra Life raised over $20,000, and that's all for sick kids, which is fantastic.
Yep. And so far, I haven't actually looked at the total yet for Movember, but we launched here on the 1st, and like I say, today is our first real big charity live stream for it. And let me make sure I've got the right URL to donate to. Just a second.
So does this mean that Jerry will be attending PAX East in a kilt?
Yes, it does mean that. I don't know what I was thinking, but I did it anyway for the kids, and so yes. Let me warn you, it'll probably be that Friday, and so if you want to pick a day not to go to PAX East, I will.
But the Standing Stone Games meetup is that Friday, though, right?
That is probably true. We have not formally announced anything, but that's my intention.
I think whatever day it is, that's the day that you have to wear the kilt. I mean,
we have raised more than $1,000 as Team Standing Stone Games here for Movember so far. But like I say, we're just getting started.
Right.
And it's moteam.co/Standing Stone Games. Let me actually drop that into the chat for you, Patrick, so that you can actually, let me even give you a better one and get rid of the question mark MC thing.
Yeah,
there you
great. And we'll make sure all that stuff's in the show notes and stuff.
No, but I really appreciate it. It's every year, it is a lot of work, but it is also really important. I hear from a lot of people who are suffering from various things, and so it makes it all worthwhile to do. So thank you, everyone who's been able to donate so far.
Yeah, and it's a big thing, and it's great to see the generosity of our community and all that stuff. And wanted to make sure we got a nice, good highlight of both programs this year. So thank you, Jerry, for being on the show today to do that. Just kind of thanks to everyone for listening to the show. Anything else you want to plug before we wrap up here?
No, I think that's about it. I can't think of anything that I need to get the word out. We've done lots of promoting for D&D night and things like that, so we're good there. I have been doing it if you really can. But it's also sometimes fun. I'm doing some kind of non-DDO and Lotro, non-company game streaming personal Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/mockduck. And if you want to see like old FMV games or Atari stuff and things like that, you might want to check that.
Yeah. So thanks to all the contributors for DDOcast, and to Standing Stone Games and the Wizards of the Coast for making DDO happen, and to Cyberbears for hosting the podcast. If you'd like to support the show, you can visit our website, DDOCast.com, or you can support us on Patreon. But go support Extra Life and Movember this month. That would be a better use of your money, I think.
And also, congratulations to the Damsel of DDO.
Yes. At episode 2.
And actually, I believe DDO Players News is hitting the big 200.
Yeah, they're hitting 200. Damsels, their podcast episodes will be 100 tonight. So check those guys out as well. If you have a DDO-themed webpage or you Twitch DDO and you'd like to be featured on our website, you can email me at ddocast@gmail.com. You can also hit us up at ddocast.com for show notes, MP3s, our calendar, previous shows, and other fun stuff. If you'd like to be part of the show, have a comment on this episode, a question you'd like to hear us answer, or a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, or you just want to say hi, you can email us at ddocast@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment anywhere where you can do so. You can also find us on social media and follow us for the latest cast updates. I'm at DDOcast on Twitter. Jerry, do you want to give out the Standing Stone Games Twitter handle or anything?
Yes, Standing Stone MA.
There you go.
Are the Twitter handle for Standing Stone Games.
Pretty easy. Right. So may all your attack rolls be crits, all your chest level appropriate. Have fun, and don't forget to gather for buffs.